What's up, everyone? Today's video is going to be the first one of my underrated music artist series, specifically the group Tuxedo with Mayer Hawthorne and Jake One. I'm also including Mayer Hawthorne's solo career in this video because they both produce on some of the solo stuff too. There are other producers involved, but I'm sticking to Mayer Hawthorne and Jake One for the purposes of this video. Now, when I say underrated, I mean underrated in terms of commercial success and notoriety. I mean having a following that usually doesn't have artists break the top 40 with their record sales or airplay. When new generations come along, they seem to be interested in certain genres, and music seems to exist on a cycle. Music that was popular in the 70s isn't going to be what's popular today, but that doesn't mean it's not good music. Certain music in certain eras just doesn't get the due I think it deserves because they're not the in thing at the moment and they just get lost in the times. A lot of people that make good music today get lost in the pop mainstream music scene. I mean, you guys all know that my biggest influence is Billy Joel, but if he made music today, he probably wouldn't be nearly as big as he was in his career. Because, I mean, the main focus today is more akin to, certain production aspects, visuals, and writing styles. Mayer Hawthorne and Tuxedo fall into that niche category today where they aren't as commercially successful as I think they should be, but that's just me. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments and post who else you think is underrated. They tend to play small venues and clubs, have had 4 collective albums reach inside the top 40 on the Billboard R&B hip hop charts at number 6, number 8, number 10, and number 16. But they have yet to get that mainstream success. From a Seattle Times article, Jake One says, in music, it's really tricky because once you think you have stuff figured out, it's over and you don't. We kind of did these things really to please ourselves. That's kind of the only thing that worked for us. If we try to make a song that we think is going to be a big licensing song or a commercial song, we're just not really good at that. It's just not really our thing. To which Hawthorne followed with, we just have to make something that we want to ride around and listen to in our cars, and that seems to be what works, what everybody else reacts to. Mayer Hawthorne and Jake One met while they were both DJs. I've heard this story a lot about different artists, but a lot of artists never had any intention of becoming singers. And it was the same with Hawthorne, who was just happy to be a DJ. Hawthorne takes on all the singing duty in Tuxedo, while both Jake One and himself produce. From the same Seattle Times article I referenced before, Jake One says, we actually met through DJing. We met in 2008, I think, in Seattle. Kind of on some rap guy stuff. There was no Mayer Hawthorne at this point. He wasn't singing. We actually came together through our love of obscure early 80s boogie funk. Fast forward a couple of years, he put out his first song, and I was just shocked he could sing. I sent him a couple of tracks I had ironically been working on, and he sent me some songs back. That was kind of the beginning. Hawthorne says, I wanted to be a rap DJ. I was a hip-hop DJ and producer. I was making rap beats too. Despite not having any vocal training, Mayer Hawthorne came on the scene commercially and has done 4 solo albums, starting in 2009 with A Strange Arrangement, and went on to make How Do You Do in 2011, Where Does This Door Go in 2013, Man About Town in 2016, and his Party of One EP in 2016. Party of One has just 6 songs on it, with 3 of them being instrumentals, but it has one of my favorite songs on Hawthorne's, and Someone Like You. No, not that Someone Like You. Tuxedo with Jake One came on the scene in 2015 with their first album Tuxedo, and then followed with Tuxedo 2 in 2017, where Snoop Dogg opens the album on the song With the Tux, with saying, the only time you wear a tuxedo is when it's time to party. And then their most recent album was Tuxedo 3 in 2019. I like pretty much every single song on the first 2 Tuxedo albums, and I've only heard Tuxedo 3 once, so I have to listen to it a few more times to really hear it, but I'm sure I'll like it just as much as the previous 2. I mean, you can call their style of music whatever you want, whether it's soul, neo-soul, retro soul, funk, electro-funk, dance, or new disco. It doesn't matter. What matters is that they're consistent with what they put out, and by consistent, I mean they make good music that they want to make. And it just so happens to make you want to shake your butt and put you in a good mood. I don't even dance, and their music makes me want to dance. You do not want to see me dance. I mean, I'll bob my head and maybe throw in a little sway or a 2-step here and there, but that's about it. These guys put out what they love and what they've been influenced by, and it works. Some of Mayer Hawthorne's influences are Barry White, who is his musical hero, Curtis Mayfield, Smokey Robinson, Isaac Hayes, Holland Dozier Holland, and other influences that you might not think a soul singer might have. Take a look at these clips of Hawthorne talking about his influences on the YouTube channels of the Grammys and Playboy.
Obviously, there's the Motown influence that heavily inspired my first two records. But I think on this new album, my love for Steely Dan, the Cars, Michael McDonald and the Doobie Brothers, Hall & Oates, I think those things definitely came to the forefront. I mean, I grew up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is right next to Detroit, so we get a lot of Motown over there, but also Iggy Pop is from Ann Arbor, where he went to my high school, and Andrew WK was my next door neighbor growing up, and he was in my first band. So it's very diverse. I mean, the MC5 are from Ann Arbor. We get a lot of rock and roll, a lot of folk, and then there's also, the hip hop coming from Detroit. I mean, that's really what I wanted to do when I moved to Los Angeles to make music full time. I wanted to be a hip hop DJ, not a singer. A lot of influences.
Yeah.
Not just Motown.
Right.
George Clinton, Roger Troutman, Rick James. Number one is Barry White, though. Barry White is the maestro, man. He's like my musical hero. He was like the soundtrack of the club, and then you would leave the club and take your girl home into the bedroom, and then Barry White would be there too. I kind of strive to be that dude.
Jake One's influences are more hip-hop centered with Dr. Dre, Pete Rock, DJ Premier, DJ Quick, and Marlon Marl. Jake has also worked with G-Unit on many projects, and a little fun fact, he also produced wrestler John Cena's WWE entrance music on the song The Time Is Now. Jake One has been DJing and producing music since the early 2000s. Take a look at this video of Jake One drawing inspiration from older music records on the YouTube channel Mass Appeal.
All right, let me see if I can find drums on some of these other records, because that would be the thing that nobody ever does. Use the records for the whole beat.
Good old metronome. I hate that thing. It's so annoying. I have no clue what he was doing there in technical terms other than producing, but it looks impressive and incredibly easy for him working through the keyboard. Both Hawthorne and Jake's influences have helped them meld the older soul, pop, and hip-hop sound in their own contemporary music making. They do differ on how they like to produce a song though. Hawthorne is known to like a song to be faster because he said he likes to make people dance, whereas Jake likes slower grooves. So they both complement and balance each other out. Hawthorne has called this melding of their styles elegant funk. I mean, you only have to really listen closely to their songs to hear those influences. Take, for instance, Hawthorne's song, You're Easy Lovin' Ain't Pleasin' Nothing, and you can hear the style of the Supremes, You Can't Hurry Love, or the opening part of Make Her Mine, that sounds influenced by People Get Ready by Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions. You can also hear the influence of George Clinton on Tuxedo's song Shy, as well as Zapp's More Bounce to the Ounce. I mean, the song Shy was a collaboration with Zapp, so it would naturally sound like that style because they were one of the pioneers of funk in the late 70s and early 80s. Listen to Hawthorne talking about George Clinton here on the YouTube channel, Let the Record Show TV.
How do you find that sticking?
This was one that I definitely was just like out in the Huron High School parking lot smoking weed with my homies, skipping class, getting baked, and we would just listen to this like nonstop.
Yeah. Wow.
P-Funk.
Funkadelic, Let's Take It to the Stage, this, Tales of a Kid Funkadelic. Like, I mean, we were obsessed with the whole universe of this.
Okay.
Were you into like the groups that sampled a lot of Parliament and Funkadelic?
Digital Underground was basically
very much.
their entire career is basically. I mean, and pretty much every West Coast rap artist.
Cube
yes.
heavy.
Cube
Heavy.
yes.
Yeah.
Dre, everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, Snoop. Yeah, I mean, every West Coast rap artist basically sampled George Clinton.
And did it well too.
When I hear
And-
Parliament, I don't think of Parliament. I think of the rappers. It's like
Yeah, well,
backwards to me.
that's part of
That's
part of what makes West Coast rap really great.
That's
is-
exactly what I think. I'm like.
That's
all right.
why I love West Coast rap
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
'Cause it's all P-Funk.
Yeah.
These are just some of the influences that I hear in their music, whether it was intentional or not. Let me know if you hear what I hear in their songs. Their influences and their own interpretation on them that has created their own style, has revived music that hasn't been in the spotlight for decades, and they've managed to make it just as, if not more, catchy and groovy with their signature beats, riffs, and contemporary style. There aren't too many groups out there today like Tuxedo or individual artists like Mayer Hawthorne, at least not in the mainstream, and I think they should be celebrated. Here's a list of my favorite Mayer Hawthorne and Tuxedo songs. If you haven't checked out their music, then you're missing out. I mean, you hear some of their songs in this video, but go check out their entire catalog, and I'm sure most of you will thank me later for it. I really hope that good music made from artists like Mayer Hawthorne, Jake One, and Tuxedo will get broader exposure, but then I wouldn't have an underrated music artist series to do. I guess it's a catch-22 though. If they got the recognition that I think they deserve, then I wonder if some people would, say that they're selling out. I mean, I don't think that would apply because they actually love making the music that they do and they stay true to themselves. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you later.